if you can move on to the other side or just a bit further up.
Yeah, that's fine. We haven't been, people have been coming back.
Yeah, that's fine. Just move it up a tiny bit or onto the other side if you want to go back across. You're more than happy to stay right across, like straight out the front.
Whatever you're comfortable with.
That's fine.
That's fine?
No, they're going across.
Hey, this is News Corp, is that right?
Yep.
Hi, how are you?
Thank you.
I was just ringing up to inquire, what do you guys think about the fact that there's such little competition in the media in Australia?
What paper did you want to talk to?
I just wanted to talk about the company that owns all the papers, because it feels like a lot of the papers are kind of monopolised by a small number of corporate interests.
Bring back up during next week.
Oh yeah. Do you personally, as an employee, have any concerns about the lack of competition in the media? I mean, obviously, you know, our families and communities are affected by the lack of diversity in the media.
We don't make comments through our switch, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So but on a personal level, like, do you ever think that?
We don't make any comments, no.
Well, just one more question, if you'd bear with me. You'll probably remember that we had a war in the Middle East that cost billions of dollars and ended up killing about 500,000 civilians. The media said that the reason to go into Iraq was because Iraq had weapons of mass destruction. That turned out that was a lie. Is there anyone I can write a letter to complaining about the fact that we were lied to go to war, and that you personally, your community, and your wife and children, if you might have them, were affected detrimentally by that, by losing your taxpayer money to go upset and destroy the lives?
Write a letter to the editor if you want.
Yeah, I can write a letter to the editor.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. What's the process to do that? Do I just write it to address it to Surrey Hills, New South Wales?
I'll give you the address. It's Post Office Box.
Yep.
4245.
Yep.
Sydney, 2001.
Cool. Sweet. So yeah, I'll write a letter to the editor.
Okay.
Because yeah, obviously it's quite scary the control the media has over the public. You know, it's kind of like the new priestly class. You know, like the MX is the new Bible. Have you ever heard of a thing called manufacturing of consent?
No.
So this is an idea that media can be used to manufacture the consent of the public for certain policies. So certain policies that might be unpopular, like war, for example, the media is able to manufacture the conditions by lying to the public.
Anyone can do that. The TV can do that as well.
Yeah, I mean the TV is part of the media, right? I mean the TV is a big part of that, you know.
They have a bigger control than anyone else, I think.
Yeah, well, Rupert Murdoch has his hands in Fairfax as well as.
No, he doesn't. It's not in there. It's nothing to do with Fairfax.
Oh well, what? Sorry, News Corp Limited. Is that the one that Rupert Murdoch's involved in? Either way, there's not a lot of competition in the media. Rupert Murdoch's business has quite a lot of sharehold, but you know the competition isn't very diverse. I think there's only like 11 papers that 11 papers in Sydney. All of them are controlled by 2 corporations. That's not a lot of diversity of opinion, really, is it?
Well, that's just the way it is. It's always been that way.
Well, I mean, that's not a reason to have it stay that way. Like, if I put on...
Anyone can publish a newspaper.
Yeah, well, it's interesting you say that, because there's quite a lot of legal fees you have to go to publish a newspaper. Some people would argue that in order to publish a newspaper, you would have to have a lot of money behind you, and so that means that only rich people can really afford to have a say in terms of newspapers being made.
Do a blog, you can do anything now online.
Yeah, I can do a blog, but I mean, obviously my blog is going to be, you know, a grain of sand on the beach of the mainstream media. Do you think that maybe there should be maybe laws against the?
I have no idea.
No idea. But obviously, you and I are both affected from the lack of diversity in the media. Like maybe in a detrimental way, like us and our kids and our grandkids or future generations.
Well, no, I don't feel detrimental at all.
No, you don't think that the fact that we went to Iraq for false pretexts maybe affected you in a negative way by taking a lot of money out of your community to pay for a war that from all accounts contributed to the death of 500,000 civilians and hasn't made Iraq any safer. Yeah, well, we weren't the only ones responsible for it, but we were involved. Like yeah, and like John Howard, he's happily retired now with a $500,000 pension. Did he get a slap on the wrist? Like if we don't like buy parking tickets, we get parking fines. And John Howard kind of fucked up as Prime Minister. Did he get any recourse? Is there anything to did any of the people who published the fake news stories get in trouble for their biased news coverage?
I tell you, at the time it wasn't biased because that's what they thought was the truth. That was the information they were given out of America.
Well, I mean, that's what I mean. Is it's sort of like we can't trust the information that's handed to us, can we?
Okay, well, it means you don't trust anything.
Yeah, well, yeah, certainly.
It doesn't matter what you're talking about.
Well, that's true. Like you should always have skepticism, but I just worry that a lot of the public, they don't really have time to expose themselves to enough diversity of ideas to kind of see outside the narrative that the mainstream media paints for us. And
I don't think half of them are interested.
Well, yeah, half of them might not be interested, but
If not more than half, I would say.
yeah, and I think the reason they're not interested is because of the lack of diversity.
No, I don't think that's the case because you can go anywhere to get information nowadays.
Well, that's true.
I think they are interested nowadays.
That's true. You can go anywhere to get information, but for a lot of people who are hardworking, there's not a lot of there's a lot of billboards advertising shitty products, and there's all these free newspapers handed out to them, and there's all these commercials on the TV and ads and stuff. But maybe a lot of those people don't have the time, or any kind of individual on their own, like going to the library, like reading about history and stuff, is such a small thing compared to the massive control the media has at large.
Well, it's up to you to do it yourself.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm here outside of the headquarters of the Australian Daily Telegraph and Sunday Telegraph, actually involved in a protest against the mainstream media, because I do have these concerns, and I think there's a lot of reasons to be concerned.
Write a letter to the editor and get your point across.
All right, well,
that way.
All right, well, I'll do that, and hopefully they pick it up. And thanks for your time. You've been very patient with me today.
All right, thank you.
And I hope you have a lovely day.
Thank you. Bye.
See ya.